The electric mini pump seems to have done a fantastic job of buzzing and puffing its way into our everyday cycling life. But some say they're nowhere near as good as the manufacturers claim, not reaching pressure and prematurely running out of puff. Is this true, or are some people just using these the wrong way because they don't understand how they work? And as we've all known since we were 5 years old, the best way to find out how something works is to take it apart. In front of me here we have three very different electric mini pumps with varying performance, price and puff. At one end of the scale we have the relatively unknown Cousro X1 at just £50. In the middle we have the very successful CycPlus AS2 at £70, and then at the other end we have the premium Presto Go at £99. So which one of these three pumps shall we take to pieces to see how it works? Well, the Presto is a beautiful looking thing, so not that one. The Coospo, being only £50 and the cheapest one, does seem the obvious choice. But if I'm honest, I'll be damned if I can work out how to get into it without smacking it with a hammer. So, CycPlus, you're going to take one for the team. So for the record, and to state the blooming obvious, you shouldn't actually do this because first of all, it will void your warranty, but more importantly, the moving parts inside this thing will make mincemeat of your fingers. Right, let's crack it open. So let's remove the rubber boot, which is pretty obvious. And that will expose 3 Phillips screws. But before we undo those, we first need to remove that little port there. So let's just buzz these screws out. You should probably use a magnetic tray for this. You should get one of these for your workshop. They're great little things. Just pop that to one side because you will lose that screw. So there you go, drop it in that magnetic tray. They're wonderful, those things. Get the other 2 screws from the other side. I should probably use an anti-static cloth and anti-static gloves and stuff like that. I'm sure I'll get comments in the comment section, but hey ho. Right, and now we should be able to just pull that out. Now the button's going to drop out. There it is, and there we go. Now at first glance it's all pretty obvious stuff. You've got a circuit board, a bank of batteries and a very posh looking brushless motor. But if you then flip it round and have a look at the other side of the pump, everything starts to make sense and you understand how it works. If you look closely, you've got a crankshaft, a conrod, a piston and a piston bore, just like you'd see in a normal car engine. Well, I say a normal car engine, back when we used to make normal cars. Right, let's start it up and see what's going on. It's a blur. No wonder it gets so hot. Right, I'm going to pause the camera for a second and see if I can get that piston and conrod out so we can have a proper look at what's going on. And there you go, after a bit of fiddling, it's out. And as you can see, it really is just a piston on a tiny fixed conrod with a little rubber piston ring. Knowing how this pump works now goes some way to explaining why people have struggled with them in the past. If you get a piston engine and put a load against it, the piston will struggle to get going. Don't take my word for it. Go and get a manual car, shove it in gear, turn the key and see how that pans out for you. We all know what will happen. Well, the same is going on here. If you put this pump against a partially inflated tyre, the back pressure will push against the piston and stop it from starting, which will put massive strain on both the motor and the batteries. Additionally, starting and stopping these kinds of pumps puts even more strain on both the motor and the batteries, generating more heat and reducing the performance of the pump. So the key thing with these mini pumps is to start the pump, and once it's going, then push it onto the valve and keep your cool. Leave it there. Leave it until you reach the desired pressure, then remove the pump and stop it. If you are one of the cool kids running TPU tubes, then you need to be warned when using electric mini pumps, because the massive heat they generate melts those fragile plastic valves, and that is why most pump manufacturers now supply one of these hoses to get rid of that heat. But if you're running one of the older ones, like the early CycPlus AS2, you won't have that hose and it will melt that fragile plastic valve. And on the subject of TPU, going a bit off topic, but using CO2 with a TPU will have the opposite effect, and it will freeze those TPU tubes and it will crack the fragile plastic. You've been warned. So while we're here with these three pumps in front of me, I should probably let you know what I think of them. And we'll start with this one, the old faithful, the CycPlus AS2. Now, it's the smallest pump out of the three, and at only 116 grams, it's the lightest too. And these guys have been doing it a while now, so it's a popular choice. And they also make pumps for other people. You look at that pump from Silka, for example. These guys make that for them. But it's starting to look a bit dated. With only a 300 milliamp hour battery, no buttons to set the pressure level, no auto cutoff, and no display telling you what pressure you're at, I struggled to justify its £70 price tag. And when it came to inflating our 28mm test tyre to 80 psi, it could only do it once. And I didn't bother timing it in the same way you wouldn't bother timing the 0 to 60 of a Citroen 2CV. It will do it eventually, but it just takes a very long time. The Cousro X1, the underdog, the unknown, at just £50, it's the cheapest here, and if I'm honest, I wasn't expecting a great deal from it, but it has a 1000 milliamp hour battery, little buttons that let you adjust the pressure, a digital display that shows you the pressure, and an auto cutoff once it gets there. And it inflated our 28mm tyre to 80 psi in exactly 1 minute. And it managed to do that 4 times on one charge. And also, after doing that, I attempted to recharge it, but it wouldn't let me do it until it had cooled down, which is reassuring. And then there's the last one, the Presto Go. It's the largest one here, and at 153 grams, it's the heaviest one too. But that increased bulk does mean that it can accommodate an impressive 1500 milliamp hour battery, and it does feel like a quality premium product. But then at £99, it's the most expensive one here. Now, Presto claim it can deal with a 28mm to 80 psi in just 50 seconds. My test, it took 1 minute 25. They also claim that it can do that tyre 4 times over. And in my testing, I can confirm it did do it. Only just though, it quite literally collapsed on the finish line. As far as the very annoying noise that they make, I can confirm they're all pretty much as guilty as each other, hovering between 76 and 78 decibels. And to put that into some kind of perspective for you, basically it's the noise a vacuum cleaner makes. Now, if you want some more information about either of these three pumps, I'll put some affiliate links down below. And for transparency, yes, All three of them were sent to me by the manufacturers free of charge for me to make an unbiased evaluation. So what is my experience like of using electric mini pumps? I have taken an electric mini pump on every single bike ride I've been on for the last 2 years. And either myself or one of the people I'm riding with has been grateful that I did. And the exact pump that I took with me was this one, the CycPlus. And as I say, I've been using that for 2 years. It's no longer the pump I'm going to be taking. One of these two is going to be replacing this CycPlus. Which one do you think I'll be replacing it with? Stick a comment below. Now, the most important thing with these pumps is that they get the tyre back up to an adequate enough pressure for you to continue your ride unhindered. Other stuff like pressure gauges, buttons to set the pressure, auto cut-off, pump the tyre up in 50 seconds as opposed to 1 minute 25. It's irrelevant, it's garnish, you don't need it. The most important thing is that it pumps the tyre up. And the second most important thing after that, because lightning does strike twice on the same ride, it's happened to us all, can the pump do it 2 times over? So the idea behind this video wasn't actually to look at individual pumps, but to look at the technology itself, find out how it works, so we can leverage the best performance from it. Oh, and also to stop you going at your own one with a screwdriver and turning your fingertips into mincemeat. Now, while we're on the subject about learning stuff, why not check out that video up there where I talk all things torque wrenches for the budding home mechanic. Or alternatively, check out that video down there where I simplify the very complicated world of brake lever reach and free stroke adjustment. Thanks for watching.